Hello, everybody. This is Corporal Kindel returning to Dominions 5 as Pangea on Impossible vs. 15 AI. And this is episode number 2. We are starting on turn 1. So let's get to full screen mode, all to enter episode number 2. Okay, so it is we're officially starting the game. The last episode was really the preliminary setup. Which included, that took a long time, to fully really beef out the strategies and to analyze all the units and to generate the world and all the settings and everything. So we're officially starting the game now. I talked about all the different buttons for the new people. So let's talk about. I think I've talked about the land provinces. The game is divided into provinces, etc. And you can see where my dominion is went off. And I think I talked a little bit about my plan is. I was looking at it a little further, and I had originally planned to go up here, which I probably will, but I'm thinking I probably need to expand out here somewhat first, because this spot right here is much closer, and it's in woods. Pangea likes the woods. If I didn't already mention, all their temples and labs are 50% off to be built in woods. And this woods is really connected in my home province. So what I would really like to do is expand out here somewhere and then maybe go this way. I would like to take control of I don't know how far I'll be able to go. I expect that I will be able to go this way to some extent. Figuring out where natural barriers are, where I want to build castles, to generate the most income. And I'm looking at this spot right here, and look, if you'll notice, this spot has a hell of a lot of adjacent provinces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, roughly. Well, 4 plus 3 is 7 here. It's 2 spots removed from my castle. Another one here. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we got 6 plus 1 water. And these spots right here, this one nobody will be able to cross except in the summer. With both sides are summer, so that will provide a natural kind of barrier. This one not so much, because they can enter across through this pass right here, but it is blocked off here. And of course, this spot, controlling these spots that are on this other side of this mountain will provide somewhat of a natural barrier to control out here. I would be able to control, say, these 4 provinces would be able to control a lot of this map. Of course, I am not counting on water nations too. There are some water nations in this map, and they will sometimes enter the land, but they're generally, the water nations going on land are not as strong, and vice versa. So it'll be a little bit more easier to defeat water nations, but of course there's a whole big front here. It's really hard to defend every province. You can put the province defense up. The positive of this province defense, right here, is it doesn't cost any upkeep, but it's really not that strong, and it does get quite expensive. If you put 1 province defense, it may add 1 or 2 guys. If you go from 25 to 26, you'll add 1 or 2 more guys, but the price will be 26 gold. You ramp it up to 27, it'll be 20. So it gets increasingly more, exponentially more expensive, or actually geometrically going to province defense 1 to 2 only adds. Well, if you go up to 1, it costs 1. You go up to 2, it costs 2. You go up to 3, it costs 3. And each one only adds the same number of units. It'll be either 1 or 2, depending on the nation. I think once you get to around, 40 or 50, it may add an extra 1. I'm not sure. 40 or 50 may add, instead of 1 or 2, it may add 2 or 3 guys. I'm not 100% sure. It varies by nations, the type of province defense. Like, for example, I think at the first 20 or so, or it may be 20 to 40, most of the province defenses from the local units which are in. They're not from your main national troops, with the exception of your fortresses. I think if you build a fortress somewhere, the province defense is always from it'll be your national units. So if you have good national units, they're a little bit better, or so. Okay, so that I know we be. Oh, let me set the doggone clock. So we want to do a little bit of analysis in province defense. I will be using it. In general, I want to take a new province. I'll ramp it up to 6 or 7. You always want to leave at least one because it'll stop an enemy from. It'll at least be a speed bump to provide many. If you have at least one, if you forget to put any province defense, they can move twice through your province if there's 0 defense there. So you need to have at least one to act as a speed bump if they declare war on you or attack you. So in the settings, I set the difficulty to 9 for the independence. I ramped it up horribly, so I'm not going to be attacking right off. I'm going to generate what I'm going to do is I want to my very rough approach with these guys is to spend 2 times accumulating troops, and I want to attack on the 3rd turn into the game. Because these things are going to be a bit stronger than they are. We ramped it up to level 9. I'm not going to see my Pretender in the game for the 12th turn because I sent him at Dormant. So I really don't have to worry about getting a profit until roughly turn 12. And I mentioned at the outset that my army units, I'm going to go to recruit because I'm going to recruit that the amount of cost is depending on whether their upkeep cost is depending on sacred versus non-sacred. The symbol right here is sacred. This guy's sacred. Most of my guys are not sacred. And conversely, their upkeep cost is going to be either 1/15, that's a fraction 1/15, versus 1/30. Where 1/30th is exactly half of 1/15. So the upkeep, you're paying much less upkeep costs for these sacred guys, and that is a very important concept in the game because in this game everything revolves around treasury. It is the most important resource in the game. It's really the most limiting. I've played this enough to see it's the most limiting factor that you're going to have in this game because once you have 3 or 4 castles or structures, fortifications, you can just build units. If you don't have enough recruitment points or resources to build them all at one, you can just build some at the other, and there's always going to be, in general, there will always be enough resources and recruitment points if you get more than 2 castles to get everything that you want. What's going to limit you is going to be the gold. Ultimately, if you have 5 castles, you may only be able to build units in, say, 3 of those, 2 or even 3 at most, depending on what units you buy. You may be able to buy a small number in all 4 if you really spread them out, but most of the time you'll really be buying stuff in your main home castle because in a lot of nations your primary sacred guys are only available in your home province. See, if I go to this, enables the recruitment of the White Centaur. I can only get the White Centaur, which is going to be my primary combat unit in my home capital at this grove. So I'm going to be he's going to be a backbone guy in my combat army. And he's also going to be limited to holy points. See, for example, however, I can only just get 4 holy units a turn if I had otherwise had enough. Actually, this one it goes back and forth from 4 to 3, which it depends on your dominion at the time. 4 to 3. My dominion was set up to 4, so I should get 4 a turn. If I had 5, for example, if I'd set my dominion strike to 5, it would be 5. And of course, like I said, you can't increase your dominion if you get enough temples. But it requires the building of 5 temples. Another reason why I want to get a long line of these woods hexes, because again, I mentioned it's half off for temples. It's these guys, temples are 200 instead of 400. I want to make use of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and buy our units the first turn. So I wanted to get 4 of my sacred warriors, use all my holy points. I'm also going to primarily be buying these guys as commanders. I'm only going to have a couple of these Black Harpy scouts. I really don't want to spend too much on these other guys. Probably not even going to buy one of these guys, frankly, because, well, this guy's cheap. I mean, if I need a real cheap leader, I can buy him, but these guys are so much better, and they're only one 1/30th the upkeep cost. So I'm really going to concentrate on these guys, and then of course the magic guys. Mainly these two are going to be my main researchers once I start building a research school. So I'm going to get, oh, for God's sake. Oh, that's right, 3, because I can, so there's my 4 sacred guys that I can buy, as I can only get 4 holy points, 1, 2, 3 of those plus the leader. So what I plan on doing is the first 4 turns, I'm going to be buying 1 of these things each turn. Probably going to buy 2 of these on the 5th turn. The 6th turn, I'm going to buy a pan, which is the most expensive unit in the world that on my side. It's 325. It is not sacred. It's hugely expensive, but remember, the prophet and the pretender are 0 upkeep cost. I am going to make use of that by declaring this guy the pretender, so I won't have to pay his upkeep cost, which is going to be normally 325 divided by 15 is 21.6, rounded up to 22, which is ungodly expensive for upkeep. 22 a turn is going to cost me to upkeep one of these guys, which is really my most powerful unit that I can have. He's got 4 nature, 1 blood, 1 earth, and 1 random skill. 1 random skill of, it's going to be either earth, 1 of earth and blood, and then a 10% chance of getting 1 of these 3. So, but if I set him as the prophet, I can have 1 in the game. I pay no upkeep. I still have to initially buy him, but no upkeep cost if I send him as a prophet, and it's a very powerful unit. So he's going to be I'm going to buy this. So I want to plan to get him on turn 6-ish, and then turn 7, I'm going to start buying these dryads for my researchers, and I'm going to set them. I'm going to repeat recruitment of the cheaper version, 185 per turn, 1 per turn, and I'm going to run with these 4 guys are going to be my starting leader, and my pan that I'm going to set up as my main prophet will be my 6 main leaders. Really, I'm not going to use this guy as a leader. I'm going to try to have 3 of them, and they're going to really scout out, especially in the immediate areas. They tend to die. I really don't like these guys scouts that much because eventually they're just going to die. Like I said, they're the guy's scouting ability. If you look down here at the bottom, it's stealthy 60, so 60 points worth of patrol units gives him a 50% chance to be spotted. If he's spotted, he just dies because he can't win a fight. Not against 60. Certainly not against 60. I mean, they usually fight and die. I've never seen one win, frankly. Not when you use them that way. But they are fairly cheap, 25. The ones that I played in Niflheim, as I already mentioned, are 55. They're very expensive scouts, but I did not use them as scouts. I used them as warriors because they were actually sacred, which is, I mean, most of the scouts aren't sacred. A sacred warrior scout, imagine having an army of those, and that was actually the centerpiece of my strategy in my first playlist, and it didn't work in the sense that I actually lost that game, but I think it's a valid strategy. I need to refine that strategy for Niflheim. Those of you that are interested, you can look at my other playlist and see how it turned out. So let's go ahead and start the game. I'm going to send my scout out in the immediate area. I'm going to swing him out in an arc. I'm going to bounce around here and see what's in these areas around here. Find out where my nearest AI neighbors are. I would like to rush my nearest AI or one of them, depending on who's the weakest. I'm hoping that I don't get near giant nations. Any of the giant nations, the Heims, Helheim, Vanaheim, Niflheim, I don't know, Fomoria, and who's the other one? Is it you are? Or I don't like being near giant nations early in the game. Giant nations have strong units, they're strong but expensive. They're much more tougher early in the game because their units are tougher to. I would prefer to be against somebody that has another human nation. It would be easier. I use that term easier, relatively speaking, easier. Of course, I am on impossible settings, so it is impossible for a reason. It's tough. Again, I did lose my first playlist. I mean, I never claimed to be the greatest player in this game. I'm not a newbie either. I'm somewhere in between. I'd like to think that I'm somewhat above average, but we'll see. We'll see how we do this game. It's a new nation, a new plan, a new pretender type. So I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to the fun. Okay, so let us generate a new turn. This will go up to I got 6 going each turn, so I should go up to 12 nature. Oh, one other idea, another thing that I'm going to set my strategy for as far as approaching magic. I am going to start actually getting, when I do get magic, I'm going to start with the conjuration school. I would like to go up to at least 2. And the reason is I'm going to have a hell of a lot of these green nature gems, not much of everything else. So I'm going to see a huge stockpile, which is good. In my opinion, nature gems are the best ones because a lot of the items, some of the really good items are in the nature category, such as the Ring of Regeneration, the Pot of Broth, which is a necessary, highly necessary one to get large armies and reduce the supply. Vine Shields, those are a really good shield type, are all in the nature generation. What is it? The Ring of Regeneration? There's a ring of amulet. I think it's is it the Amulet of Resilience? I'm pretty sure that's a nature gem item. That's a good one. It provides 5 reinvigoration. Remember I mentioned that subtracts from fatigue, which is a really good item, especially for mages. So those are kind of in the nature gem categories, and I'll be looking for those. But some of these, there are a lot of things here. I would probably, the Killer Mantis is probably a good early unit. I would like to get some of those. They cost 8 at level 2. So I'll be looking for those, to get to those when I get to level 2. And I should have a stockpile that I can build a fairly good stockpile of those things to supplement my army. And the good thing about magic units too is they don't have upkeep. They're no gold, so their upkeep cost is more or less 0. If there's 0 gold, you mean 1/15 of 0 is 0, right? So that's another good thing about recruiting monsters or those kind of things. They can supplement your army, and I'm going to need that in the impossible settings, so they have very large armies. I've never played an impossible game that I have not been outnumbered by quite a lot by the AIs in this game, no matter what I do. Even if I ramp my gold up to the most I could get, they really have a huge armies in a short amount of time on the impossible settings in this game. It is tough. It is very tough. So let's generate the turn and go to turn 2. All right, so it goes pretty quick. Again, early in the game, these guys are all proclaiming their new prophet. So we can see kind of who we're up against. What do we got? Maverni, Abyssia. Maverni is the Gallic nation. They have druids, Celts. Kind of they're modeled a little bit about the Gauls of ancient. What used to be in France before the time of Caesar. Caesar wrote on the conquest of Gaul, which was a good book. Divide and Conquer, Carnutes, and the Sigentes, all those tribes, all the tribes he made war with. And they were druids. That's kind of what these things are. And Abyssia is a fire nation. Kalasia. Drawing a blank on Kalasia. Yomi is a Japanese kind of mythology nation. They got demons. They're pretty interesting. Samurais and demons. Hinam. Again, I'm drawing a blank on Hinam. Or if I know them well, they defeated me in the last episode. A giant nation. Got massively overwhelmed year 6 by those guys. I won out on the attrition, but they had so many freaking units that I could not overcome them when they declared war on me and the other one. So I know them very well. They're a giant nation. You got size 3 giants. Atlantis, wow. Check this out. Atlantis, Rylea, and Pelagia. Those are all underwater nations. So they're actually looking at 3 underwater nations. Interesting. So it looks like our oceans are going to be filled. There's going to be a big fight in the underwater. And if there's 3 of them, 3 is actually quite a bit, I think. Look at this ocean here. See this wraparound from here to in between here and here. There's one of those guys is going to go down. I mean, one or both of those guys are going to go down. But it looks to me like the oceans are going to be scene of a lot of combat. And then again, 2 of these things are out in the ocean, or were there. Did I see 2 of those in the ocean, the Thrones of Ascension? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was only 1. Okay. All right. I may be mistakenly incorrect. It looks like there's only 1 that I'm seeing. One Throne of Ascension is in the water. Okay, that's fine. And anyway, hopefully those ocean nations will be fighting amongst each other and not be raiding the coast. Because I am starting on the coast here. Not really my favorite place to start. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to get anything from this ocean province. I don't know. I don't think a land province gathers resources from an ocean and vice versa. But I'm not 100% sure about that. In any case, it'll be forever, but then I can move in the ocean if I do. I have no real reason to go in the ocean other than to get this one thing. I mean, but I'll probably just go over land and try to take them. But okay, so we generated the turn. So those are all the proclamations. Everybody declared their profits. I did not declare profit again. I'm going to try to get my pan as the first profit. So we got our first unit here, Hypogea. So this is a female, and I'm going to go ahead and rename her. I'm going to call her the Gooch. So she is the Gooch. Okay, and I'm going to generate. We kind of have an idea of what we're up against. Wow, Gramazons and Griffin Riders. Wow. Okay, this is a good province, but they're going to be a little bit tougher to take. This would be a better province to take. Again, I'm going to generate troops for one more turn. We'll generate the other centaur types. Male. Remember, there's male and female. There's 2 male and females of each of these. And they're a little bit. One has a long bow, one has a short bow. I'm going to be using both, so I don't favor one or the other. Really, I'll be using both. We're going to take our stockpile of 3 of these. 173 gold left over. Let's generate more just general chaff units. We'll take a bunch of satyr warriors and satyrs. Okay, and I ran out. What did I do? I ran out of recruitment points. So we'll roll over a -4. Right now, I'm going to be running out of probably resources to recruit before gold because I only have this one fort right now. So, eventually that's going to change. And I want to take my cap circle, too. That's like the first thing that I do early in the game is to take these 4 provinces, which are my cap circle, so-called cap circle, so I can generate. If I did not mention, though, I don't think I mentioned in this game, and this is very important. I mentioned the 4 ways to get gold. Well, there's really 5. There's an indirect way. The 4 ways to get gold. The most important one is to build more forts, which are going to take resources and gold from the adjacent areas. And I'll talk about the rate in which they do that in a minute. But that's the number 1 way. The number 2 way is to find sites on this map that are gold generating. There's a few of them magic sites they're not magic sites, but they are not all the sites on this map are absolutely magic sites. Probably roughly 3/4, and I'm guessing will generate gems of some kind. The other 25-ish% don't. And some of those 25-ish are just like gold. There's one called the Arena, generates 25 gold per turn. There's a couple of gold mines, iron mines that generate like 80 gold, something like that, 100 gold, 80 gold, 50 gold, something like that. So that's the second way to get rolled. The third way is through magic. There's a transmutation spell which can convert your gold gems to gold. I don't like using that, but sometimes you don't have a choice. You just don't have a choice. It's much better to use those things to build items, cast spells. But if you're massively outnumbered, you just don't have a choice sometimes, or if you're about to get blown up. And the fourth way is there's an item in the that generates 200 gold per turn. It's a unique item called the Drop Near. You know, it's not really, unfortunately, since it's at level 8 construction, it's going to be one of those things which you're more or less going to get at once the game is decided. I mean, you're not going to be beelining construction 8. And the more indirect way is to spread, if you have good scales, spread your dominion so that your scales are more like mine. Remember, I got 3 of these growth scales which had a 12% income, something like that. So I want to spread my dominion more in general, because some of these provinces may not have as good dominion. Most of them probably don't, because I set my scales higher. So indirectly, if I can get my dominion out and I get my growth scales going, these provinces will be a little better than they are without my dominion. So that's the indirect way. And to go along with taking provinces, generating forts, conquering forts. If you can conquer a home province, the single biggest gain that you can get to gold is by taking another home province, because they're usually heavy, massive population. They'll have the largest level of gold. Provinces in the game are going to be AI home provinces. So you'll see your biggest jump if you can manage to take one, a huge boon. So that's why I always try to beeline taking an enemy home province early in the game. Okay, so we bought our units. Let's generate a next turn, end turn. So you really want to take home provinces if you can. Like I said, I'm going to make it part of my strategy. I've always done that, to try to rush it near. Or more. Okay, I hope I'm not near Urmore. Urmore is the one nation in this game that actually has horrible death scales. Okay, I have run in some of the Dom 4 games, I've ran into Urmore, and they actually will kill off population in the game. I mean, you'll find provinces that are like 0, which is unbelievably horrible, because it's not only there's no population, but there's no supply in them. You can't move them. You get nothing for. They're just dead people. There's no province defense, no supply, no people for gold. Everything is just dead. One thing about this game that one little thing that I didn't like. I mean, every game is going to have some little things you like. Overall, though, this game is an unbelievably cool game, and it is one of my top 10, frankly, list games of all. So its high points vastly outnumber its low points, and so, the low points are going to be different for different people. The things that you don't like about game. But I don't like having those 0 provinces. I mean, I wish there was some way to repopulate them. I don't think there is a way to do that, at least in the old one. Not that I was aware of. I could be wrong, but in the old versions, I think it had to be some random luck that sometimes happens. Random events will happen, and guys will move to province. You may get a blizzard, and maybe 500 guys move from a province to another province or something like that. In the older versions, that was the only way you could repopulate provinces that had been killed to 0 pop, and there was no other way to do that. I hope in this version of the game they actually fixed that, so you could at least maybe through a spell or something, or just not reduce the whole entire population to 0, because those 0 killed provinces really, really suck. Really suck. I don't know. So I don't like Ermor. Like I said, they kill populations. They're the one nation that absolutely kills population. And there's one really horrible global spell that Ermor could put up that puts death in the world, and it'll just start killing population worldwide. So everybody will be, if that gets cast, will be looking to kill Ermor if they pass. But you won't see that happen unless they get really strong. If Ermor is one of the AIs that gets strong, then I'll be dealing with that. Or if I see them close by, I don't know, because I don't know who I'm around. Okay, so we got nobody here. Let's move her scout out further. We're going to move to her over here. So she's sneaking around again. I want to fly all around here, and I want to see what the layout is. I want to see where my opponents are, etc. Okay, so we did not spend our gold yet. Let's get back to recruiting. We did spend our recruiting. We got 2 now. So let's rename this guy. We're gonna call him what do I want to call him? We're gonna call him the Gimp. Okay, we got the Gimp, the Gooch. And I'm actually gonna attack. This is gonna be a tough province, but a very freaking good province. Griffin Riders and Amazons, I like them. I really like them, but I'm not gonna be able to take them out right away. These guys are gonna be tougher, heavy cavalries. Archers and militias, heavy. Okay, these 2 are going to be the first 2 that I attack, probably. I will start with these guys, light infantries and archers. So let's get our army set up. Remember, these 2 guys are inspirational, so they get +1. They can command up to two armies. Now, I take that back. You can actually max out. The maximum number of armies or groups that you can have is 5. But everything over what your command limitation is, you get a -1 morale. See, if I went from -1 to -2. Now it's going to go to -3. Now it's going to go to -4. So I went over 2. Everything that's over your 2, you're going to get a -1 in each of the armies, which is really bad, so I obviously don't want to do that. And these guys are much better because they get a +1. They'll get a +1 to each of the first 2. So, you can see it right here, +1 to morale. So I want these 2 guys to be leading my armies, not him, because I'll get an extra morale bonus. See, I'm going to go from -1 to 0. These guys are -1 because they're undisciplined. Undisciplined guys are usually always start off as -1. Instead of just 0. That's just one of those things about undisciplined guys. And we're going to put our other main guys here. So which ones are, okay, these are the main, so these are the warriors, and these are basically the archers, the satyrs, which are archers. See if I right click on them, they have a javelin. Well, they actually have 2 javelins. They chunk, ammunition too, so they're going to chunk 2 javelins. And then they're going to, fight normally. And meanwhile, these are my main warriors. So they got spears and a shield. These guys have a shield. These guys do not have a shield. These guys have a shield. So they're going to be a little bit better against archers. So I want them. These are my main warriors. If I select them, I can right-click and then left-click move. For example, I can right-click on this, left-click move around. So that's one of those things I got last playlist because I was exiting to move the other groups. You don't have to do that. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna put these guys that that have shields to charge up first. Hopefully they will take most of the shield. I mean most of the brunt of the firepower, and I want to put them up a little bit further up here. I really want these guys a little bit further down. And I want these guys are going to be my flankers. In this game, I'm going to set my white centaurs to be flankers. So right here, set my army's order. We're going to attack rear. So these are your orders that you set to all of your guys, including your leaders and everything. So you have a bunch of options. you don't have 100% control of all your units in this game. You organize them in these armies, and you set them how you want. The undisciplined guys, well, one of the bad things about undisciplined, you cannot give any orders to undisciplined. They kind of do what they want to do, which kind of stinks. In general, they will kind of throw, if they're missile units, they'll throw their missiles and kind of slowly move forward. That's what they, in general, do. So you set these guys up. These are military guys. These are the guys I want to move. I want to attack closest enemy. So attack closest versus attack rear. It's just like it sounds. If I attack closest, the guys are going to move up, kind of maintaining a line and hit the closest guys. And they will kind of, a very rough line, stagnate at where the closest enemy are. Whereas the guys that attack rear will, if you put them on the sides, they'll kind of a flank around the rear if they can. And they will hit around the back, which is usually where the archers and leaders are. And these guys, of course, are cavalry units, and they're going to move very fast. So that's what I want to do with them. And I can set my leaders too. Right now, they're all out here, but for example, I could do the same thing with him. Right click, left click, he's moving around, right click. It's just like any other leader. I'm going to kind of leave them in the center. And I'm going to set my leaders to stay behind troops. So they'll basically just stay behind the troops instead of charging forward. Stay behind the troops. And they'll fire. They'll actually stay behind the troops and they will attack if they can. So they'll fire their archers. Because both these guys are archers. They have bows. Short bow. This one is a short bow. And this one has a long bow. So that's fine. I don't want them moving ahead because they move ahead without enough troops. They'll get surrounded and they could die. I don't want my leaders dying. Okay, so that's them. We're going to go control select, and we're going to attack we'll attack here in the first turn. My guys don't have a blessing right now. If I go back on my temple, left click on it shows what blessing effects are in effect, and I got morale +1. And morale, mountain survival. If sacred units get blessed, which are not going to happen right now. But of course, remember my primary bless effects were incarnate only, which was the one that added all the defensive Stygian flesh, and the other one which added the great protection. Can't think of the name of it right offhand. So I'm not going to be seeing those for a year. Because that's when my pretender comes in, because he's not on the map, incarnate on the map at this point. So we're ready to generate the next turn. Let's do it. Let's set everybody. Oh, I did not buy my units before I forget. Buy another leader, get my 3, use up all my holy points, and then buy more units. So again, I'm going to be picking up chaff. These chaff warriors and satyrs. That's what I'm going to be. And I'm out of resources. Still got enough gold, but I'm going to be running out of resources and or recruitment. Because I only really have the one castle right at the moment. Oh, and let me talk about the amount of resources that your castles develop. So your fortresses, which is important to renew, guys. Again, on my other playlist, I really wanted an in-depth tutorial. I don't want to go as in-depth on it, but, for new people, there may be some new people that haven't seen my other playlist, so I kind of want to cover these kind of quick. Your administration will tell you it's 25, so I'm taking 25% of all the resources of the provinces that I conquered. For example, this place has a resources of 19. This one has 19. This one has 40. Let's use 40. 40 is a whole number. If I was to conquer this province, if I controlled it, which I will eventually will, I'm going to get resources now, not the income, but the resources that I'm going to get are going to be equal to 25. It's 25% of 40, which is what? What is 25%? 40, blah, 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 blah. It's a fourth. A fourth of 40 is 10. That's 10. So I'm going to get 10 added to this province. Now, it's kind of weird in this game, the way they do resources. The total amount of resources in a province that does not have a fortification, is actually double what the resource. So this province has a total of 80. It's double 40, which is 80. That's its total. But there's only 40 that can be used. The other 40 is actually, you could think of them as being potential. They don't get used. Oh, there's the bell. Okay, so if I conquer it, I'm going to take 10 because my administration is 25%. 25% of 40 is 10. But I'm going to be taking that from the potential. So if I was control this, what would happen is this province would still have 40, and the other 40 potential, there would be 30 left, and I would get 10 of them, which would be added to my resources. So this 83 would go up to 93. So that's how the resources work. And as far as the gold, the income that is going to be taken from the province is equal to, the income works a little bit differently. It's equal to, it's your administration divided by 15%, which is the same as the tax rate. My administration is 25%. 25 and expressed as a percentage. So it's what, 25 divided by 15 is what, equal to 25 divided by 15 is equal to 1.6. Let's call that 2 and express that as percent, 2%. So I'm going to be taking 2% of the income. 2% of 47 is, what? I don't know. It's some small number. 0.02 times 47 equals 0.9. Wow, it's even 1. It's a very small amount. So obviously you want the income to go up more. You'll get more for provinces that have more. So that's how much of the income you get when you control, as far as, which is the most important, like I said, the income. You get very little of income, even though you control the provinces. You get much more resources. So you really want to build more forts. Okay, so build more forts and conquer the enemy capitals are the best ways to get more income. And indirectly the dominion. Okay, so I'm just going to end this. I mean, let me just run the end of the turn and stop there because I'm too curious right now. I really want to do one more turn and see what happens, and then I will end the episode. Got to see what happens in this attack, and then we'll end because the bell did go off. I want to try to keep them as much as I can to 30 or 40 minute episodes, with the exception of the first one. So there was a battle. And we conquered it. Okay. Wow, it didn't take any casualties. So I will start with this the next episode. We'll look at the microize this battle and start there. Because the bell went off. We won the battle. And I'll start analyzing the battle in the next episode. So let's get back to the Winnowise mode. Alt enter. So that I can get to the recording. The OBS recording studio. And this is Corporal... Oh, what freaking turn was it? What current turn did I make it to? I keep forgetting this. I need to know what the episodes are because I usually have a bunch of them recorded and I got to know what they are. So I want to start and end the episodes with the date, the turn date, so I know kind of what they are. So it is summer in year 0. Summer in year 0 is turn 5. It's actually 4, 5, or 6. So we're in midsummer, which is turn 5. So we went from turn 1 to turn 5. 1 to 5. And we're in summer. So we did 5 turns. 5 turns. We went to summer of year 0. So let's get back to OBS. So this is Corporal Kindel signing off for episode 2 of Pangea, of Dominions 5 is Pangea on Impossible, and we got to summer of year 5, turn 1 to turn 5. Hope everybody has a great day today. It's actually Christmas. It's 12/25/2017. It is Christmas Day. Hope everybody had a great Christmas, a Merry Christmas, and everybody that got this game for Christmas, you will have a blast and have a have a great day, great weekend, and everything, and Christmas and New Year holidays. Hanukkah is coming up too, so I hope everybody has great holidays. Take it easy, and I will see you directly for the next episode. Take it easy. Bye.